Hello, Patrick Molloy, Natural Psychology here. Just to follow up on yesterday's video, which was about eating disorder treatments. In fact, it was about the question, how do you recover from an eating disorder? I did it in the evening and the old brain was slowing down a bit that time of day. So it was only after the event, I thought, oh, hold on, I forgot to mention a couple of things. So I thought I'd just rectify that by doing another video to just fill in some of the gaps. So the question that I attempted to answer yesterday was, how do I get over an eating disorder? Also, in retrospect, when I think about that question, it's a very broad question because there's a broad range of eating disorders and variations on the theme. So there isn't one intervention or one approach that would necessarily be appropriate for every eating disorder, or in fact every person with a particular eating disorder. Anyway, so yesterday I talked a little bit about some of the main psychological therapies. Being a therapist myself, I focused more on that, and there were some things that I didn't mention that don't fall into that particular area. So I didn't mention medications. Obviously, it's not something that I would prescribe, but in some cases, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications are prescribed, and some patients might find those helpful in that they kind of level out the mood and the sort of ups and downs that many eating disorder sufferers are prone to, partly perhaps due to the condition, but partly perhaps it may be part of the background pattern of thinking and feeling and behaving that may have led to them developing the eating disorder. So sometimes some medication may be prescribed, and some clients would find the medication would help them somewhat. Now, obviously, it isn't going to really address what's going on in terms of the emotional components. It simply takes the edge off things and can make things a little bit more stable for some people. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It can help some people at certain points in their journey. I did mention yesterday about CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, excuse me. There is actually a specific form of CBT known as CBTE, which stands for CBT Enhanced Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, which does have some evidence to back its efficacy for eating disorders. Now, that particular approach is usually, it would be seen as short-term therapy, but from my point of view, the sort of work that I do, it's relatively long-term. So it's 20 sessions over 20 weeks. So a fair bit of time, but there is some evidence to show that it's very helpful for some people. So those are two that I didn't. Another that I didn't mention was family therapy, which is a form of therapy where the family is sort of brought in to work together to support the sufferer. And this can be very helpful, particularly for anorexia sufferers, because the effect on the whole family for someone who's suffering, an anorexia sufferer's family, is massive, and the stresses and tensions that can be created can be enormous. So family therapy can be really helpful for the whole family, and to help the family to support the sufferer. And I know it's been hugely successful for anorexia sufferers. The other thing that I didn't mention was that, well, I did briefly mention it was about nutritional support. So again, it's not somewhere where I particularly go. I've read and researched in some depth into that aspect of things for my own interest and for my own understanding, but I'm not a nutritionist or a nutritional therapist, so I don't actually recommend a particular eating plan or make dietary recommendations specifically. But that can be very helpful, and particularly for anorexia sufferers, there can be a point, a very, very serious point, where it's about keeping the sufferer going, keeping them alive. There is a saying that food is medicine, and at certain points in an anorexia sufferer's journey, it really does get very, very serious. And to have somebody put together an appropriate eating plan, and to have everybody in the family, from the point of view of family therapy, to support the client through that, can again be life-saving. And I know of many, many cases where lives have been saved. So those are some areas that I didn't mention yesterday. I did talk about my own approach. I won't go on about that particularly today, but it's a fairly rapid intervention, usually a few sessions, or sometimes a couple of intensive days, which is appropriate for some people. It's not appropriate for everyone. But can be very, very effective. So anyway, I think I'll leave it there. Hopefully that's filled in some of the gaps that I left in yesterday's video. I hope you found that interesting and useful. Please feel free to comment if there's anything you'd like to, any points you'd like to make, or any questions that you have. Please like and share. If you can, it helps to get the word out there, and may just help somebody to get the help that they need. So I'll sign off there for today. Bye for now.